Okay, so hi everyone. Today we are going to chat with Alia, who I think is up there, and Sue, who is down there, about social media and digital marketing. We're going to spend about 2 to 3 minutes on around about 6 questions, I think it was, that we've gathered and collected from specifically a commission to do some social media and digital marketing work for Sport England. But all of these questions we're going to answer in a bit more of a open way, so hopefully it can help the wider charity and non-profit space. So guys, shall we begin?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Awesome. So the first question that we want to have a chat about is, as a small team, how can you prioritize marketing time? Does anyone have like an immediate thought about what you do to help prioritize that time?
I'm just a massive fan of kind of time blocking and making sure, I mean, we're a small team, we block out specific times to nail that subject in particular and don't get distracted.
I think priorities as well, kind of seeing where you need to focus your energies on, and if you've got a small amount of resource and time, how can you best utilize that, and where do you need to focus your energies on more, I think.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really difficult to work out where those priorities are, right? Like sometimes you've got your own stuff and other people have their priorities, and we can get distracted by what people are asking of us. And
really easily, yeah.
We don't often spend enough time to kind of focus down and drill down on what the actual priorities for us are. So yeah, there's a few things that we can look at there in terms of like how we prioritize our time. One of the things that I love, as you both know, is habits. I love a habit and a habit.
But it's really helpful to have things in at the same time and every week make it, because it becomes easier.
Yeah. Like my favorite all-time habit is our Be More Digital Buddies list on Twitter. I've got it pinned to the top of my personal Twitter on my app, and every morning with a cup of coffee I'll sit there and be like, what can I engage with? And that's really helped.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So prioritize, get a habit, make time, get organized.
And make sure it's aligning to your objectives as well. Like make sure you're not kind of going off down rabbit holes and sort of steering away from the main objective, whether that be fundraising or awareness building or reaching out. Keep the objective front and central. Always.
Next question. When and how should you use different social media channels?
This is a really interesting question because it's all about your audience. Where are your audience hanging out?
Absolutely.
You've got to know who your audience are. You've got to define them, write them down, make them a person, do a user persona, and then find them. Where are they? They might be on Twitter, they might be on TikTok, but it totally depends on who you're aiming to see your content.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's the testing, isn't it? Seeing what does work and seeing where they already are. And also what you think you know about a social media platform may not be what your organization needs and what is the right fit. So doing that insight and kind of data gathering as much as you can to start with is a good way to start, and make sure that you don't kind of overcomplicate it when it is quite simple sometimes.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of requests recently about like support for TikTok, or we really want to get on TikTok, from charities, social enterprises, sports clubs, all of that kind of stuff. And I look at it so often and I just kind of flinch because, I remember, a couple of years ago, everyone was like, we've got to be on Snapchat, and everyone was getting really, really kind of anxious about how to do it and what to do, and most of the time they didn't even have an audience on there.
No, there's an awful lot of pressure on social media. You must be making reels on Instagram, and you must be on TikTok, but if your audience isn't there, there's no point. It's wasted content. You may as well pick your 2 where you know your audience are and just concentrate really well on them, rather than spread yourself so thinly trying to produce content for 6 or more.
And I think that probably kind of goes to answer the previous question as well. Like, you know, if you are a small marketing team, why you want or a small team, let alone marketing? Like,
then you don't have the time to hit every single platform well. So to find the ones where your audience are and hit them, with your best content, and you'll see better results.
Definitely. Ready for the next question?
Oh, let's do it.
Where do you find innovative and creative content ideas?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. They are everywhere.
Inspired.
They can hit you in surprising ways. I love looking at what other people are doing. Different people from different areas, not necessarily sticking with the charity sector, but looking at a range of what are other people doing, what's hitting me, what's trending, what's around, because you can get inspiration from so many different places.
For me, I think it has to be authentic.
I was just about to say authentic. It's about kind of what sits well for me in the brand values, and kind of personally as well with my values, and how that can be done in a slightly different way. Like, how can you think outside the box? And a lot of the time it's about giving value. So many times when we're talking about, when we run sessions like this or have these kind of conversations, we're often trying to kind of pull out those ideas that give more. So what your objective is, but rather than just asking people to do that, how can you give value in order to encourage them to, sign up for something or donate or whatever it might be? It's
about entertaining and informing as well, isn't it? Going in with that hard sell all the time, or this is what I want you to do, is not what people want from social media. They want to be entertained, they want to be interested, they want to learn something new. And
you haven't got that long either for the attention span of content that lasts. So
I mean,
don't
Twitter's
overthink
like
it.
15 minutes between lasts, isn't it? So you've not got a lot of time to kind of, for that content that you're going to be spending ages like thinking about, you've not got a lot of time for that to kind of sit and gain traction. But
on the other hand, it's good because you can test as well. So things that do go well are great, and you've got that insight. But things that don't go so well or don't get as much interaction, they'll be gone tomorrow. So it gives you the opportunity to test different kind of content ideas and different approaches to see which resonates best with your audience.
Definitely. And I don't like, we saw over summer there was that trend of reels on Instagram where it was like, like, that really annoys me, because one person does it and it goes really well, and like you said, Sue, look for inspiration from others, but that's not like appropriating and being inspired. That's plain copying, and it's
absolutely. And you need to make it, if you find an idea that you like, don't just jump on a copy. Find a way to make it to make it your brand, to keep it authentic, to twist it, to do something fun differently with it. Absolutely. Because if we're all just doing this, what's the point?
Next question. How do you get the most out of pay-per-click? Now, this is a big one, I think, for a lot of especially charities. The pay-per-click question: should we do it? Can we do it? What's our budget? How do we set that kind of stuff, and the return on investment? I suppose the kind of first thing is, again, about picking those channels. Like, your Facebook and Instagrams are very expensive now.
Yeah, they
are.
But
equally, you're not going to get that much organic traction. So if that's one of your chosen channels, maybe you need to have that.
Yeah, organic is so down on Facebook now. They want you to buy the adverts. They want you to pay. But again, it's about clearly defined goals and targeting the right audience, isn't it? And making sure you've got that established first.
Yeah. I mean, if you set your kind of audience net too widely on any of these channels, and just say, I want women in the UK, like, that's not going to give you enough. But if you want kind of, so if we're taking one of the questions from the Sport England Commission specifically, it was looking at audiences in the West Midlands, women and women from a Muslim or Sikh background. So at that point, you've already got quite a specific target.
That's a targeted audience, clearly defined. This is who we need to get our advert in front of. And that's when advertising does have a benefit, I think, when you've got that specific audience in mind. Then you've got to have the content to speak.
Yes, I was about to say that, yeah. So making sure you've got your keywords and kind of understanding what the best phrasing and the tone and voice that you're using, really tailoring the content that you're then going to promote to make sure that it does perform the best that it can.
Yeah.
Definitely. And don't forget that you can get like free grants as charities from Google, and you don't need to pay someone to manage it. You can get up to £6,000 of ad spend. And if you don't use it all, then it doesn't matter. Don't put that pressure on yourself, and don't necessarily, if you don't have the budget, pay someone to manage that. There's lots of free training that Google offers on how to manage Google Ads. So you don't need to worry about that. There's my free push there. Any more to say on pay-per-click?
No, I think, as you said, there's a lot of information, Facebook Ads Manager and things, quite a lot in there if you sit and have the time to go through it, and targeting, it's all about targeting.
Yeah, and ask your peers as well. Like, there's loads and loads of different fundraiser groups, or you've got the Digital Charities Slack group, which has got loads and loads of questions being answered about pay-per-click, because for some reason it does seem like it's still one of the mysteries to the charity space. Okay, how can you find and engage with new audiences?
This is what everybody's asking at the moment, isn't it? How do we get more people to see us?
Yeah, and one of the ways that I like is that kind of offline conversation. So how can you bring those conversations or those activities or the events or the things that are happening offline into that kind of public facing online space on social media? Can you have conversations about, I'll write this blog for you, can you share it, tag me in? How can you find opportunities to tap into other people's audiences that may be slightly different to yours? And that's one that I quite like. Yeah,
there's a lot of collaboration going on at the moment. I saw a good one the other day on Twitter. It was I've forgotten now, Tesco and was it St John's Ambulance? Did you see the Baby Grows?
Yes. Yeah.
Getting someone to collaborate with, finding someone with shared goals, and because twice the amount of people seeing you, and potentially a new audience that they have who haven't spotted you before.
Yeah, I think it's also about listening as well to new audiences, and really understanding and challenging your assumptions about them, and trying to sort of gain as much insight as you can without being proactive to begin with, to sort of try and understand the context and the different the environments that your new audiences inhabit, and trying to sort of really understand how your messaging works within that as well. I think often people can sort of storm in and be holding the signs, and it's sort of, actually that's not the right approach. You need a little more softer approach, a more kind of humble approach, really, if you're particularly with minority groups, or with groups that you don't always communicate with. It's really important to listen and to approach it with an open and kind of critical approach, I guess. Yeah.
And I think one way to kind of find that authentic voice is, if you don't know, find a group of people that are willing to share. Don't expect, if you know a Muslim woman, that they're going to be able to answer all of your questions about their culture and how they act on social media, but they may be able to give you an insight about how they feel. Or it could be that there's a group or a charity or an organization that you can approach to partner with, to find out how people respond to your content.
Absolutely.
And then you've got that authentic voice, and you can create those user personas as assumptions and then bring them to testing to see if
never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to ask your audience, what do you want?
Absolutely.
What do you want to see? How can I, any suggestions? It's always a good way to get people to have that conversation.
But I think also really importantly is if you are asking for that help, how can you support that organization or that group after that help? Don't just approach Charity So White with, hey, tell me how I can be a better
Tell me how I can,
charity person as a white person. You know, how can I as a white person support Charity So White after that? And it's bringing in that kind of value in that conversation and that sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question.
Next question.
This is the last one.
Oh.
So, what tips do you have on SEO and making it work for you?
The one thing I really want to say is don't force it. I hate it, watching people force keywords and things in when they're not. Make it natural. It's stating itself and be natural with it.
Yeah, I'd recommend experimenting with the new copywriting AI algorithms that are out there. There's a few actually that I've been looking at, and they're really, really interesting, and they help you to kind of diversify and widen up the scope of the language that you're using and the approaches. And you know, it's the future. So you know, automating this kind of work is really helpful, and it can get you out of a rut if you're stuck down with a list of keywords and you're a bit like, it can help to just see what other things that you could come up with and kind of utilize the tools that are available to help you content writing journey specifically.
Keywords are so important. I mean, keeping a list of relevant keywords and adding to it. Don't just words, but go back to the list and re-look at it. After you've been and done some other things, go back constantly and rework it and see. And again, testing to see what's working.
And I think also what's really important is those kind of accessibility basics. You know, the recent, especially the Google algorithm is about kind of usefulness, and part of that is about making it accessible. So make sure you've got those headers in the right order. Make sure you're using alt text. And make sure you're describing your links.
I don't think some people realise that the alt text and the words behind the pictures also counts. It also that extra view, that extra word, that extra keyword in. So use it. Yes, use your accessibility.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Ooh.
We are done. So thanks so much, both of you, for joining me and answering some of the questions about digital marketing and SEO.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. Thanks for having us, Bobby.